Today we're taking a look at the Pharisees, from their rise before the New Testament to their eventual disappearance. The Pharisees first appeared around 150 BC, during a turbulent time in Jewish history known as the intertestamental period. After the Maccabean revolt, the Jewish people regained some independence under the Hasmonean dynasty. But with independence came religious and political tension. Two major religious groups rose: the Sadducees and the Pharisees. The Sadducees were mostly priests and elites, focused on temple rituals and the written law of Moses. The Pharisees, however, were scholars and teachers who believed not only in the written Torah, but also in oral tradition, interpretations passed down through generations. The Pharisees were strict about purity laws and how to live a righteous life daily, even outside the temple. They believed in the resurrection of the dead, angels, and final judgment, teachings the Sadducees rejected. This made the Pharisees more relatable to the everyday Jew, and their influence grew across the land. By the time of Jesus, around 30 AD, the Pharisees were among the most respected religious leaders. But in the Gospels, Jesus often confronted them, not for their belief in Scripture, but for their hypocrisy. They taught others to follow God's law, but sometimes failed to follow it themselves. Jesus warned, "They preach, but do not practice." Matthew chapter 23. He called them out for valuing traditions of men over the heart of God's commands. Yet not all Pharisees rejected Jesus. Nicodemus, a Pharisee, came to Jesus by night to learn from him, John 3. And the Apostle Paul, before his conversion, was a Pharisee trained under the famous teacher Gamaliel, Acts 22:3. In 70 AD, everything changed. The Romans destroyed Jerusalem and the Second Temple. The Sadducees, who depended on temple worship, vanished. But the Pharisees, who focused on teaching and the law, adapted. Their influence continued and even helped shape what became Rabbinic Judaism. However, as Christianity grew, it no longer needed the framework of Pharisaic leadership. The church followed Jesus as the fulfillment of the law. Over time, the Pharisees, as a group, faded into history. From defenders of tradition to subjects of Jesus' strongest rebukes, the Pharisees played a major role in the New Testament story, and left behind a legacy of both warning and depth for anyone seeking to understand faith, law, and the heart of God. If you enjoyed learning about the Bible, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment about what story you want to see next.